Hey, it's your boy, Sergeant Hunt Henshins. Thank you guys once again for watching the recent videos for the build retrospective, which I'm going to get part 3 out, I promise. I know I've been saying that. And the Zenkaiju reviews and all of that, I still got to work on my review for episode 12. Got to watch episode 12. But anyway, today we're going to actually talk about switching gears over to Kamen Rider Zero One, one of the extra movies that came out past Real X time, which was Kamen Rider Zero One Others Metsubojinrai. So this movie is a what's called a v-cinext, which is just their way of rechristening the V cinemas. They're called v-cinext now, and it's a short movie about an hour, a little bit under, focusing on Metsubojinrai. And the plot of it is that at this time, Aruto is in space working on a new satellite Zega, so he's not on Earth. Izu is, I think, but Aruto isn't. And Azu has the like evil Izu girl has approached Arkland, who's the lead person of Zaya. And so she thinks that he's going to take the Zero One driver and the Arc key and whatever and become Arc or whatever. And he tricks her into thinking that. But so that's the main plot of it. And he has created these things called Solds, which are basically soldier variant human gears. Coming to find out later, once we get into the plot a bit more, Jin was actually the first prototype sold when they rebuilt him and brought him back. Um, so anyway, his plan is to first he catches Jin. They fight for a bit. He goes to fight Metsubojinrai for a while because he still thinks they're terrorists. He still thinks they're evil. Blah blah blah. Wants to put all this evil that he's about to throw out there on them. So he basically thinks that Arc is done. Whatever. He's weak. I don't give a shit. We need to have it on a physical bad guy, which is to him the Metsubojinrai group. So that's the primary plot of it. So we have Jin, we have Hirobi, we have Naki, and Ikazuchi. Um, and yeah, they're doing their thing. And overall, it's a pretty good plot. The start of it has Arkland come out with a his own Thousand Driver that's like a repaint, and then his own repainted Zetsumarai's keys to turn into Kamen Rider Zaya. What actually says in the jingle for it, it's like when the five weapons cross, the black soldier Thouser is born or something like that. Yeah, and so or Black Soldier Zaya is born. I'm sorry, and then it says instead of saying presented by Zaya, it says I am the president, and then he says presented by Zaya because I think it's supposed to be his voice that in there. So anyway, on the original Thousand Driver, so he ends up putting the Solds out there and set up this whole plot to make Metsubojinrai look bad and look like these villains again, even though they're not, even though they are fine protecting humanity, keeping them in check as long as human gears are kept in check also and are like peaceful and able to, find their dreams and all of that like we have from the end of the series. So Hirobi catches wind of this, they catch Jin, they take control of him, and they put what's called this mass brain, like AI thing within him. That's what all the souls are connected to. And he's developed a new Metsubojinrai progress key that will connect him and eventually all the other members of Metsubojinrai together to be a new Kamen Rider. He basically is trying to create a. He's basically like an arms dealer trying to play the field and make a villain for everybody to look at this person, this villain, and him be on the side of profiteering off of the war. So he basically is pissed how Zero One ended with all the conflict being done with the human gears, and is kind of like in a way trying to coerce governments around the world to want to use his soldier human gears to fight Metsubojinrai, essentially. So that's like the main part of the plot. We do get the main team, the Metsubojinrai all transforming together. Their Force Risers and the Slash Riser for Jin. And some really, really cool fights, some really good dialogue. Yua and Fuwa are in there a little bit, but only on side characters. They don't really do a ton. But we do get some really good back and forth between. I really kind of like Arkland. He also speaks a lot of English, so like at one point he transforms into Kamen Rider Zaya and like kicks Hirobi and Jin's ass a little bit. He's like, "Come on, boys!" And it's kind of odd, but also kind of funny. It's a bit of a meme now. And again, I know reviewing this, it's been out for a bit, and I understand that. But I just recently watched it through to kind of understand it all and put it together and then put a review together. So anyway, so essentially, Jin has had the mass brain thing put into him. He eventually, Arkland finds a way to basically I think he captures the rest of Metsubojinrai, kind of knocks them out and takes their keys away or whatever. And he puts them into the mass brain thing as well. Actually, Jin does. Jin uncontrollably throws out these tentacles from it, attaches to all of them, puts them into it. So then it's kind of like what it does now is it connects the four of them together, and their consciousness comes up as data and forms Kamen Rider Metsubojinrai, which the suit I think is a kit bash, but I kind of like what it looks like. Kamen Rider Metsubojinrai looks really nice. It is kind of a berserker type of idea, and I'll get into that in a bit. So at first they're sort of in control. They transform the first time, they're able to break out of it once, and then it happens again. Later on, they transform. But they start doing some stuff, breaking some stuff, destroying things, whatever. And Arkland is trying to, be like, hey, use my sold human gears, with their certain keys, the Serval Tiger and Lone Wolf keys, to fight this threat. Like I'll help you guys. I is here, blah blah blah. And actually, Amatsu Guy is like, hey, what the hell? Why are you using my Thouser technology? And he's like, well, actually, I'm the CEO of the whole company, so actually that is my technology, and I own the rights to it. He's like a whole dick to Guy, which honestly is okay. One little tiny thing I like to remind people of, if you remember right, in Kamen Rider 01, even when Guy like apologized to everybody for being a piece of trash human being and wanting to murder and do all the shit he did, basically no one accepted it. So just remember that. It's not like everybody was like, oh, you said sorry? Thank you, Guy. That's all we wanted to hear. Like, they still don't really like him. But anyway, so we go on with the plot, and the four of them transform again into Kamen Rider Metsubojinrai. It's a basically what it does for the belt. It's the 01 driver base, but it's got like a different faceplate on it. Basically it's a remold on the 02 driver unit. And then the key is different, the Metsubojinrai key. I think it came with both those pieces if you bought this movie when it came out or whatever on Blu-ray. But anyway, so they fight again. They end up destroying some of the solds. They actually destroy the mass brain connection to all the solds, so they free them from control so they can have their own sentience, which leads into the next v-cinext we're getting, which is Kamen Rider 01 Others Ames Project, I think. Ames Project. Anyway, so Metsubojinrai fights Arkland again, beats the shit out of him. Fuwa tries to tell him, stop, don't kill him, we need to bring him to justice. I have this recorded, like, we know what's going on here. We can get him sent away. And he won't answer. And every time that Kamen Rider Metsubojinrai talks, it's talking about, we'll exterminate, blah, 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 and, like, basically saying, like, whatever thing you put in front of me, I'm going to destroy it. And he says at that point, he's like, this isn't what you guys are about. This is not what Metsubojinrai is. And Kamen Rider Metsubojinrai literally says, Metsubojinrai will be extinct. Like, so, like I said before, the consciousness of each member of Metsubojinrai, so we have Ikazuchi, Horobi, Jin, and Naki, are part of this Kamen Rider, right? So he kills Arkland, he ends up beating the shit out of him, he like comes out of transformation, he's all bloodied, and he's like, Zaya forever, he just spits out blood and dies. He's an alright villain, but just leading us into the rest of the plot. He's not really the best villain, but anyway. So they do that, but then he's like, alright, was like, alright, I'll stop, like, turn off your transformation, reverse transformation, let's stop this. And he says, Metsubojinrai will be extinct. And he goes forward, and he... Spoilers for this. I'm going to... heavy spoilers in this. If you've gotten to this point, I'm very sorry, but it's heavy spoilers. This is a review/recap of the whole movie. Kamen Rider Metsubojinrai goes and destroys the body of each of the member of Metsubojinrai. So Jin, Horobi, Naki, and Ikazuchi's body, he completely destroys them. They blow up, pieces gone. So their consciousness is now trapped within this Kamen Rider. He can't untransform, and he's on a warpath. So kind of an odd way to leave it at, especially that, well, not exactly, because it's leading into the next one for the Ames thing, but pretty crazy overall. I think it was a really good overall film. I liked the fight scenes. I liked how it was a bit darker, but it made sense with the tone of Metsubojinrai as a group. They're not a very, like, lovey-dovey, emotional, quippy, funny group. They have their moments. There's moments with Naki and Fuwa near the end of 01 and a few other times with some of the other characters. But they're not like that personality-wise. And the way they see it, and the reason they choose to even use the driver unit and all of the stuff for it, is they see it as a way to help still free the human gears and free the souls. So they're talking about like this holy war, and they don't say that they're gonna kill humans. I meant to make that clear. That they're not going to kill humans, but that they are willing to basically take out anybody in their way, destroy Zaya, and free the control of the souls. And so, yeah, so we end it on kind of a cliffhanger that now Kamen Rider Metsubojinrai is all four of their consciousness combined into one, but all their bodies are destroyed. So there's no going back out of this berserker form. So it was a pretty intense movie. The music's great, the effects are great, the attacks, the transformations, clearly, the fight choreography is great. And I like that we get to see bits of Yua and Fuwa like in the background, leading them into where they're going to be for the next movie. We also get the two lead solds that are going to be basically partnering sort of with Fua and Yua in the next movie, a girl and then another guy, one that will give them each of their keys. Because the next one, Ames, has um, Fua somehow, I guess from some pictures that came out, promotional pictures, his shot riser gets damaged. And so he gets a 01 driver somehow from Easy. When he brings the shot riser there to fix it, she somehow gives him a 01 driver. He uses that with the Lone Wolf key and becomes Kamen Rider Vulcan Lone Wolf, which is his final form, we think, pretty much. It looks a lot different than Gatling, Rampage Gatling. I like it. I think it looks like an awesome form. I'll have to throw some pictures up if I remember to edit this, or at least let you know. I mean, you can look it up yourself. I mean, it's on Twitter. I'll try to put things on Twitter and on my TikTok and all of that. But so there's that, and then she has her Cerebral Tiger form as well. Her Valkyrie form, I think is what it's called, Cerebral Tiger form, whatever. And it's a kit bash, but it looks really nice as like a final form for her, and that's very interesting. We get any kind of extra form for a female rider at all. Usually they're either dead, non-existent, or get like one form and that's it. So overall, 01 Others Metsubojinrai is a really good film. It's kind of short, but it's got a good pace to it. It's pretty peppy. The action's pretty good. It's very dark, but still set within that world of 01, and it's nice to see the continuation of the story. They actually mention stuff that happened in Kamen Rider 01 Real X Time, actually. So I'll probably follow this up with, I should have done a review of this first, but I'll probably follow this up with a review of Kamen Rider 01 Real X Time, because it was actually decent also. Yeah, overall, it's a really good one. So if you can find a way to watch it through online means or whatever, definitely do it. I know that they think they're still doing pre-orders for the Kamen Rider 01 Others Ames Project movie coming out, which is the Blu-ray, and then it gets packaged with the Cerebral Tiger and the Lone Wolf progress keys. So I think they're still doing that on Total Collectibles. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but you can definitely order it that way or just wait for it to come out and eventually, inevitably be put online. But yeah, overall, a fantastic film. Really, really fun. Continuation of 01 if you're a fan of 01. If you're not, it's probably not going to convince you, but it's still fun to watch as an extra Kamen Rider thing to watch if you're into the series. But yeah, overall, I'd probably have to give it an 8 out of 10 only because the ending kind of caught me off guard. I'm not sure how I feel about it depending on how things end within the next movie. And I kind of wish that Arkland, I gave a shit more about him. Like, he was fun to watch and was funny, but I didn't really see him as a threat other than what he created, and that's it. He's not really threatening on his own, in my opinion. So, but overall, it's pretty good, and still worth watching if you're a 01 fan, clearly. But yeah, so coming up pretty soon, I'll be the Zencatcher episode 12 review. I'm gonna try and get that done pretty soon, and then I'm trying to think, probably a Toku Toy View or two coming out soon on some stuff I'm getting. And then probably the last episode, part 3 of my build retrospective, and then eventually I'll move on to Geo. That one's going to take a bit because there's lots of forms within that series, so it means lots of pictures and stuff like that. But definitely want to do that and keep moving on through the series. I feel like people have really enjoyed those. I've got some decent views on those. And again, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching the videos, for liking, even disliking, that's fine. Subscribing, commenting when you can. I appreciate all the engagement. It means the world to me. Thank you guys so very much. But yeah, so I guess until next time, stay hooked on Henshin's. I'll talk to you later with more finger guns, which is on brand for the channel. Pew 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 pew. Shot riser. Anyway, goodbye. See you later. Bye bye.